What up, YouTube Elleix? Come back at you with another custom StarCraft 2 cast. Today, we have a 1 vs 1 matchup featuring the All Races mod, which puts multiple StarCraft 2 mods into one game. But today, it's effectively the Scion Custom Races mod versus vanilla StarCraft 2. Let's go ahead and quickly introduce our players, and we'll jump right into it. Spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's our red Protoss player Terrarn going up against his opponent. Spawning on the bottom left-hand side of the map, it's our blue Xayid player Stassin. So if you're not familiar with the Scion Custom Races mod, it puts 3 new playable races into the StarCraft universe, the Xayid right here being one of them. So it should be a really fun one today. Both Stassin and Terrarn always put on a good show. Now, earlier, I was going to make a video featuring my reaction to my very first StarCraft 2 cast, and I was cringing so hard I had to stop it. So we're not doing that today. If you want to watch that, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. I'll be happy to make it. You can see me in physical pain. It would be hilarious, but also, yeah, something that I couldn't get through. It was literally just too much for me. Anyway, Stassin coming in with the scout will spot the natural base expansion is already being taken, as well as a wall being placed down in the natural base. So nothing too crazy from Terrarn, but this gives Stassin a lot of information, and unfortunately for Terrarn, he scouted the wrong side of the map. But this does put him in a position where he could play something a little cheesy like a proxy Stargate. That would be pretty cool to see. We'll see if he decides to capitalize on his current position. No, it looks like he's actually going for the scout, and we'll see that there is no expansion to speak of just yet, and we have a third Xayid den on the way. So I don't know if this is going to be a one base all-in or not from Stassin. At the very least, he hasn't expanded just yet, which is super sketchy, and Terrarn's about to see this. Oh man, taking a look at the production tab as well, we have an adept coming out from our Protoss player. Unfortunately, this probe got absolutely demolished by these roamers. The roamer is a pretty standard opener for the Xayid. It gives you a lot of scouting capabilities with this scour ability. So it reveals a small area that lasts for a duration of 10 seconds, and it's really cool. You can put this on the high ground and basically check out what your opponent is doing safely. Now, this adept just told on itself. That is hilarious. But it looks like these roamers do not care, and they will spot what is going on in the natural base location, and they will see that there is nothing, and also will spot that the probes were preemptively pulled by Terrarn. I'm not entirely sure I would do this. You have what is a stalker almost finished from this warp gate right here, or this gateway, excuse me, and a lot of probes going down. Oh, this is painful. The stalker out with 1 kill, almost 2 kills. Meanwhile, we have the adept in the natural base location. It does deny the building of this scavenger nest. So the Xayid, they do have to consistently build things a lot more like the Terrarn. They don't mutate into things like the Zerg. Ultimately, though, the adept does go down. How many workers killed? 5 workers killed by blue and 1 worker killed by red. So that was a pretty good engagement, I want to say, for Stassin, killing all those probes. Unfortunately, Terrarn, I think, panicking just a little bit with that worker pull, but at the same time, he does have a Nexus already finished. So let's take a look at the worker count. He's still ahead in the worker supply. So not looking too bad for Terrarn, even though that was a lot of workers killed at 4 minutes in the game. He is ahead in bases right now. The scavenger nest is almost finished. The stalker with 2 kills running to the support of 2 fresh stalkers. These Xayidlings, the Zergling, kind of Zergling equivalent, they do have a ranged attack. I believe they only hit down, and yes, they do. They target air and ground, excuse me. So they shoot both up and down, a lot more like a Marine. I guess you would call it like a Marine equivalent. I don't know. But anyway, these stalkers doing a great job at kiting. The Xayidlings, they do have a dash ability that kind of lets them move a short distance, and it has a cooldown of how many seconds? Let's actually take a look. What is the cooldown here? 2-second cooldown for that dash ability. And these stalkers, though, doing a lot of damage. Let's take a look at the resources lost. 700 resources lost by blue, 375 resources lost by our red Protoss players. So Terrarn is ahead in this game for the time being, but it's only 5 minutes in. Anything can happen right now. More stalkers on the way, along with a sentry. I like this a lot, and we have an oracle on the production tab as well. Do we have any sort of anti-air static defense? No, we do not. So this could be devastating for Stassin. Stassin does have a lot of production here, though. So a lot of units here for the Xayid player. Unfortunately, the Scorpolisk is a melee-only unit, and it will be able to get kited, but ultimately, all these red Protoss units going down. Stassin is in this game to win for sure. Where is this Oracle? Here it is, I think. Yes. Okay, so the Oracle going towards the main base, and Stassin has no idea this is coming for him. Oh, this is going to be really painful. There's no defense in the main base for for our Xayid player. There's a couple Stalkers here that did spot that Roamer Scour ability, and here it is, the Oracle. Stassin getting a pretty good reaction time, but 3 workers going down already. The workers killed, evening out just a little bit, but these Xayid units moving so fast and absolutely destroying that Oracle, so that wasn't nearly as devastating as I thought it would be. That is okay. We are here for the show. And what is this? A lot of probes moving. Okay, yeah, we have the Nexus here, the 3rd base. Just about finished for our Protoss player. Terrarn is doing a great job mixing harassment with production. I like that a lot. Meanwhile, we do have a scavenger here posted up to put down base number 3 in a slightly different location, and based on where his opponent is, I kind of like that because it eliminates the need to defend this kind of more forward 3rd base. We have another Oracle here as well, so a fresh Oracle. Terrarn was not satisfied with the first one, and I really don't blame him. That one survived all but like maybe 10 seconds once it entered the base for the Xayid player. Oh man, and here we go. So the Xayidlings, keep in mind, they do shoot up. That was my fault for misremembering that. Oh, and a couple Prowlers here as well. Oh no, the Oracle getting spotted, but not losing any shields, throwing down its revelation on those Xayid units, denying the 3rd base as well, so getting some good scouting information. Now the Prowlers, they throw down acid nests, which are basically like stationary spider mines, so you have to walk over these things and then they explode, but they don't chase units. They also don't shoot up like a Widow Mine would. What is this? Okay, so a Roamer here getting some scouting information as well. Right now, both players seeming to transition into the mid-game after all that kind of weird harassment in the early game. I like the use of the Acid Nest, though, giving some good map control for Stassin, and also potentially going to catch our Protoss player off guard if there is no observer on the field. Do we even have anything that can detect outside of an Oracle? I don't think so. So we just have the Oracle, which is not ideal because it would have to throw down Revelation to see everything. It's more ideal to have an observer in this situation. Blink is finished, though. So that is not too bad for our red Protoss player. Taking a look at the total supply, 105 for our red player to 92 for our blue Xayid player. Throwing down some acid nests here as well. I wonder if Stassin is going to go for that base as his 4th. I suspect he will. The 4th base coming down for our red Protoss player as well. By the way, I'm functioning off like 4 hours of sleep, but I had a fresh cup of coffee and I'm feeling good. Man, this Oracle has no idea what it's flying over. That is hilarious. Getting some good scouting information, though. I mean, we'll see what is across the map to some degree, and we'll also see these Prowlers, and that should tell our Protoss player that acid nests are on the field. Checking for this 4th base as well. Good game sense for our red Protoss player. The Bile Pit here coming down. The Bile Pit is static defense, shoots up and down. It's a lot like a photon cannon for the Xayid player. This Oracle, oh man, I misclicked. Here we go. The Oracle throwing the Revelation on all those Xayid units. Unfortunately for Terrarn, though, the Bile Pit in the natural base location is finished. Okay, we do have some Immortals, but we don't have any we don't have any observers. We need an observer to deal with those acid nests. They are literally all over the map. This is outrageous. I like the use of the Hallucinated Phoenix, though. Terrarn is doing a great job at keeping an eye on his opponent virtually the entire game, and he will know what the army composition is for the blue Xayid player. By the way, if you guys want me to cast any of your own games, I do have my Discord in the description, and you can submit replays to me over there. I would love to cast more games. Lately, we've been doing pretty good with replays, but for a while, we were in a replay drought, and I was very sad. This Prowler, though, running around with its brother and or sister. I mean, I can't really tell. They remind me a little bit of queens, so maybe sisters. But, oh, wow. Okay, these acid nests being placed down right next to the Protoss base. That is hilarious. Oh, man. Okay, like I said, these acid nests will catch the Protoss player off guard. I mean, the Stalkers are able to tank it actually pretty well. A lot like, I don't know, like a Baneling or something. Oh, this is so dangerously close, and Terrarn has no idea. Oh, that is rough. That is a very rough. But we'll see. Do we have an observer on the production tab? No, we don't. We have a Colossus, though, and we have Thermal Lance as well, which I'm not mad about. But Terrarn, my guy, you really need an observer because the entire map is littered with these acid nests. It's absolutely disgusting, as I said. And look at this. The Colossus just born and already more than halfway dead. Ouch. 3/4 of the way dead, really. So let's take a look. No observer. Where is this Robo? We have three. We have four. We have 3 unused ones. Do we even have an observer? No, we do not. Anyway, we do have 100 workers for the Protoss player to 60 for the blue Xayid player, though. So Terrarn is going ham on the production. Man. Doing a great job at managing his bases, too, making sure he's not oversaturated on the bases that have been close to mined out. But look at this. This is exactly why you need an observer. Terrarn, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to roast you. It's just like, you know, there's a lot of acid nests on the field. Man, okay. So another Colossus on the way. We have a lot of money for the Protoss player as well, which makes sense considering the fact that he has literally 100 probes. We also have... We have warp prisms on the way. Okay, these spitters are very long range, and they do splash damage as well, and this will kind of prevent Terrarn from doing a lot of damage without losing a lot of stuff. And here we go. The Xayathones as well, which are detectors. They double as detectors and spellcasters. A really cool unit. But a lot of stuff going down for the red player. As I said, yeah, he can engage this, but it's like engaging in siege tanks almost with mines all over the field. We do have observers on the field as well, by the way. Forgot to point that out. So Terrarn did make that right. A little bit of a strike team here for the blue Xayid player, taking out a few pylons. This won't supply block our Protoss player at all. These were extra pylons. Looks like Terrarn maybe had plans of expanding there. And is this Warp Prism going to do something sketchy? I think it might. We'll keep an eye on that. A little bit of a skirmish here as well. Looks like Stassin doesn't necessarily want to deal with that. This Warp Prism flying towards the bottom right-hand side of the map. This will be really interesting. Oh, and the Scorpilisks are cloaked right now. I think that is a support ability from the Xayid, if I'm not mistaken. They do go down, though. 2 Warp Prisms. Oh, I like this. This is in sight. Oh, wow. Okay, and this is a Zealot Warp. And like I said, the Acid Nest will be able to spot that and absolutely shut this down. There's just a lot going on right now. This is crazy. These Colossi, relatively, I was going to say relatively healthy, and then I looked at this one on the right, and it's very not healthy, and it has 2 kills. But a lot of Colossi, and I kind of like this. We don't see Colossi a lot these days, I feel like, so it's always fun to see. Oh, no. Just barely missing. Oh, no. I was going to say, did it just accidentally dodge all these acid nests, and then both of the acid nests get walked over by 2 Colossi? There's a third one there that's still alive. What is this? Oh, okay. So some more Xayid units walking to the top right-hand side of the map. This game is getting weird. Ladies and gentlemen. Base number, what even is this? Like 6 or something? Coming down in the middle of the map. The 4th base here. Actually, wait a minute. This is more like the 5th base, I think, for our Xayid player. It looks like Stassin did opt for this one, destroying the rocks as well. Okay, I like this. The Eroder is an anti-armor unit, if I'm not mistaken, and yes, it is. We have the Xayathones here as well. which are our spellcasting units, and the Spitter, which is basically like a mobile siege tank, is what I would kind of classify this thing as. And one thing that's really cool about it is once it dies, it does AoE damage. It's almost like a Baneling once it dies. But obviously, you have to be on top of other units to do damage. So these Colossi, though, I mean, this is a lot of splash damage for our Protoss player, but the Eroder's doing so much damage and tanking so much damage as well. It looks like Terrarn might have to go for a tech switch. On the production tab, we don't really have anything coming down for our Protoss player at the moment. It looks like he was kind of focused on that engagement and opting to go for the Immortals as well instead of the Colossi. A lot of photon cannons here powered by a single pylon. I would put one more pylon down and maybe a couple shield batteries, because all Stassin has to do is destroy this pylon, and then there's a huge power outage, which would be a very unfortunate for Terrarn. Taking a look at what our blue player is up to, our blue Xayid player going for the left-hand side this time, so actually maybe going for a multi-pronged attack here. Taking a look at the resources lost, I'm curious. 16,000 resources lost by red to 6,000 by blue. Now, Stassin is very, very experienced in the Scion Custom Races mod and just mods in general where StarCraft 2 is concerned. We have a recall here, though, which will save this base. Great move by Terrarn. Meanwhile, there's another engagement in the middle of the map. We also have the Massilisk, which is kind of like your Ultralisk equivalent, but it is a ranged unit. It has very short anti-ground range, and then it has a kind of like siege ability where it can siege up and then it remains stationary and it does anti-air damage. Anyway, this base right here looks like it is actually going to be spared because maybe our Xayid player actually wants to save his stuff. There is Protoss stuff all over the Xayid side of the map. This base getting evacuated. This Eroder here will likely go down, but still breaking the distance nonetheless. And a lot more Protoss stuff here moving in to support this push. Oh, I like this a lot. Terrarn, great move, and also inadvertently saving one of your own bases and taking out one of your opponent's bases. Not a bad play at all, but this is a really scary army. I understand the desire. Oh, this is the siege mode I was talking about. I understand the desire to attack this army. I understand when you start seeing red, you just want to take out stuff, but you want to make sure that you're not overextending, and this is a bit of an overextension, unfortunately. But that siege mode for the Massilisk will be able to attack the Colossi because the Colossi are kind of classified like a pseudo-air unit. Anyway, this base was spared. Let's take a look at the worker supply. 98 workers for red to 79 for blue. So the worker supply is pretty crazy for our red Protoss player. Almost too many workers, but really not that bad considering the fact that he's been able to keep them alive, which means his economy is going crazy. The supply total, though, is in favor for our blue Xayid player. 175 supply to 138. And the resources lost is also way in favor for our blue Xayid player. 27,000 resources lost to 12,000 resources lost. Almost 13,000 resources lost for the Xayid player. Oh, the Xayidlings getting caught a little bit out of position. This is a good pickup for our red Protoss player. This game has been non-stop, man. This is a crazy cool game, and it's been so long since we've been able to cast the Scion Custom Races mod consistently. Technically, this is the All Races mod, but it features the Scion Custom Races mod and vanilla, so it's basically the Scion Custom Races mod. These Eroders are just doing so much work, man. They do have +3 attack and +2 defense. Let's actually take a look here in a second what the upgrades are for our red Protoss player. 2 attack upgrades and 2 ground defense upgrade, as well as 2 shield upgrades. So not bad for the Protoss player at all by any means. And this, I like this a lot, actually, using that economy to build up a lot of static defense. He's almost maxed out already as well. It's 185 supply to 193, only a slight lead now for the blue Xayid player, but really nothing crazy. Both players are effectively maxed out, but keep in mind The supply, you know, 100 of that is dedicated. Over 100 of that for the Protoss player is dedicated to workers. But now the same thing for the Xayid player, actually. 94 workers for our blue Xayid player. So both players have about an even supply of army. The concern is the eroders. It just seems like they're really good against the composition that the Protoss player has. And I think that's why Terrarn maybe transitioned into Charge Zealots, which I like a lot. Maybe I would also go for like Archons, like Charge Zealot Archon in this situation. Keep in mind, you know, the Xayid, a lot like the Zerg, they're all biological units, so having some Archons wouldn't be a bad choice. We also have an engagement here on the left-hand side of the map. This Colossus with 0 kills, but able to take, or at least do some damage to these Xayid units, but not taking them out necessarily. How many workers killed now? 21 workers killed by blue, 12 workers killed by red. Ultimately, that's not too crazy. I mean, this base is almost mined out. It's currently not mining any minerals, but it's almost out of minerals. These Zealots slowly whittling down these eroders. So, yeah, going for the Zealots is a good move by Terrarn, realizing, hey, you know, my Colossi are kind of vulnerable to those eroders. They don't do a lot of damage to the eroders, and they take extra damage from the eroders. So, you know, the Colossi being an armored unit, the eroder is kind of the answer to that. These Charge Zealots, though, doing a great job. These eroders finally going down. Their reign has ended. And a lot more Zealots here with the Warp Prism. A great move by Terrarn coming in to support these Colossi. The Bile Pits on the top right-hand side, excuse me, of this base going down. The feeding pool's going down as well. A lot of workers here being killed. There's some movement here on the left-hand side with with some Xayidlings and a Mendling, but it looks like there is a warping of Zealots. Most of those Zealots running down here to attack this army. Oh, man. Okay, we have Raptors here, though, which are kind of like anti-air units. We'll be able to attack both ground and air units and help clean up some of these Colossi. The game did freeze up on me. I had to check to make sure I was still recording, and I think we're good. Man, these Xayidlings just being a pain in Terrarn's side. Looks like all this Protoss stuff was cleaned up. Taking a look at the workers killed, 39 workers killed to 27 in favor for our red player, but it looks like Terrarn just isn't bothering to deal with these Xayidlings. Maybe his focus was on this engagement down here, but all the stuff was cleaned up. I would clean up these Xayidlings and save this base. I mean, what was it? Like 3 Xayidlings almost killing this Nexus. But this army for our Xayid player is looking mighty scary, let me tell you. The Massalisks, the Raptors, the Eroders, the Spitters. There is a lot of variety here, and all of it is terrifying. I like the use of the Raptors, though. The Raptor, I mean, you know, you could really use it for some harassment here as well. So it has Cleaving Spores. Raptor attacks deal 10 spell damage to armored units over 2.5 seconds. And here we go. The Raptors flying in to the mineral line. Meanwhile, the main Xayid army knocking at the front door of this base. These probes are just hiding by these cannons. They're like, we have nowhere else to go. They are surviving relatively well, and good on Terrarn for keeping an eye on the mineral line. I would move these probes back now after cleaning up all those Raptors. Oh, man, there's just so much going on. There's also some Raptors here on the left-hand side of the map for the Protoss player. These Massalisks, such a scary-looking unit. The warp on top of all this stuff, I'm not entirely sure that was the move that Terrarn needed. All the Stalkers going down. These Raptors, at least one of them is still alive. Will it take out this base? It literally might. It straight up might just take out this base all by itself. And at this point, I think it will. Some Charge Zealots here as well. Terrarn is slowly bleeding dry where resources are concerned. As we can see, 600 minerals, a lot of gas, though, and I would totally use that gas for some sort of Archon tech switch. I mean, you have the money for it. But these Zealots here just chilling. The main Xayid army went back home, and the Raptor going down this Nexus at 17 HP. Oh, wow. Okay. Some more bile pits being placed down in front of the feeding pools. I like that. The feeding pool does heal up to 3 Xayid units at a time, and I don't know if it actually heals structures, does it? Friendly units. So I don't suspect it heals bile pits as well. Oh, man. That Stalker going down to the Acid Nest. I mean, these Acid Nests have just been really good in this game, kind of slowly whittling down some of that Protoss stuff. More Raptors here as well, and there's nothing behind to defend this. Maybe throwing down a cannon or two would be a good idea, but it looks like the Raptors are actually out for this base on the top right-hand side of the map. A lot of these photon cannons, though, putting in some work. Only 2 Raptors left. Now 1 Raptor here, and unfortunately this pylon a little too far away from the Nexus will force these Stalkers to warp in slowly. Meanwhile, a big engagement here in the middle of the map, as well as a bit of a multi-pronged attack with another strike force of Xayid units. A huge warp in of Stalkers here, though, and some more Raptors in the mineral line. How many workers killed? 50 workers killed by blue, 41 killed by red, so relatively even, to be honest. And looks like, I mean, these Raptors just not really being cleaned up by the red player, unfortunately. At this point, I think Terrarn really needs to just find a way to harass his opponent back. But unfortunately, we're looking at 104 total supply to 196, almost a max supply for the blue Xayid player. This Basilisk almost dead. How many kills does it have? 4. And what is this? Okay, a strike force of Stalkers going down virtually instantly. And we do have the Xythones here, so the Xythone being a detector, I was going to say maybe going for like a DT switch to just wipe out some mineral lines would be good, but I mean, we have the Bile Pit, which is a detector, we have the Xythones, which are mobile detectors, so yeah, DTs might not be the right move here. But like I said, going for Archons wouldn't be a bad choice. We have some Phoenixes on the way, actually. Where are these coming from? Right here in the natural base location. So, interesting. So we're going for an air tech switch. Now, the Phoenixes obviously will not be able to pick up a Basilisk because the Basilisk, as its name suggests, is a massive unit. so nothing that the Phoenixes could do against the Basilisk. I mean, you could pick up a Rotors, but there's just so much stuff here. And, you know, the Basilisk could go into its hunkered form, which will allow it to attack those Phoenixes. And the unfortunate thing is the Phoenix is stationary when it picks up units. We'll see, though. We'll see what Terrarn tries to respond to this, but this is just so much stuff, I feel like. This base has been a real hotspot for the action, let me tell you. Oh, wait a minute. So the hunker form, I don't know if this was from an update, but in the past, it was anti-air as far as I know. So hunkered form actually allows the Basilisks to become straight up siege tanks. Am I mistaken? No, they're able to do it. That's crazy. Anyway, Terrarn throwing out the GG, giving the victory to Stassin. What an action-packed 28-minute game. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.